Stop using church intimidation, control and manipulation. Jezebel and all them spirits fall back, not trying to hear it. Go with Jesus, walk in peace. On your pew can sit that beast that we're fighting in the world. I'm that JC Supergirl, Jesus Christ, belt of truth, arm of God, I'm slaying you. Power of the word, two-edged sword. MC Heaven rocks for her Lord. Thought they crept in unaware, didn't see the gatekeeper standing right there. Not getting down with your tactics, undoctrinal practice.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and Barak Atah. Welcome again to the Crystal Jones Show. I greet you in the name of Ahaya, Bahashem Yeshaya, Warawak Kwadash. This is the show that's all about life's balance. Let me tell you how you can tune in and watch the show. Every Saturday from 7 to 8 p.m., you can watch the show on bronxnet.org, on your cable channels 951, 21, and 37. Also, you could always watch me on my YouTube channel at the Crystal Jones TV show. Please subscribe to the channel, like and share my videos. Also, check me out on Instagram, where I have different Bible quotes that are very encouraging to you. And you can see me on HebrewConnect.tv. All right. Now, today we are going to the scripture of the day, which is the book of Jasher, the 73rd chapter, the 4th through the 5th verse. We're talking about the new leader, who is Moses. All right. Now, remember, Moses was chased out of Egypt because he had slain somebody who was messing with his people, the Israelites, and his foster grandfather had put out a hit on him. And so Moses went and got out of there. The Lord sent an angel and scooped Moses up out of there. So in the meantime, Moses is now, he's king over the Cushites, right? Which are the Hamites. So you have a Shemite now over a Hamite group of people. So in Jasher, the 73rd chapter, the 4th through the 5th verse, it says, "And in the 7th day of his reign, all the children of Cush assembled and came before Moses and bowed down to him to the ground." So they, honored him. "And all the children spoke together in the presence of the king, saying, 'Give us counsel that we may see what is to be done to this city.'" So now they're looking for Moses to bring them out of this war that they're in, right? So we're going to be talking about that later on in the show. All right. So remember, Moses is this Israelite person that has he's run from death several times. They tried to kill him as a child, and now again his foster grandfather, the king of Egypt, wanted to kill him because he had killed one of the Egyptians that was bothering an Israelite, right? So now Moses is being held in honor in all these different nations of people. So it goes to show you that what God says will stand. If he wants his people to carry out his word and his work, it will get done. I don't care what they assign to you. The Lord will prevail. Okay. So now we are going to today's news. All right. And today's news, we are talking about infighting amongst Russia's elite. All right. So we have here videos have emerged on social media that appear to show infighting among Russia's elite, with mobilized Russians allegedly complaining about accommodation conditions before being sent to fight in Ukraine. So apparently these soldiers that they're sending over there to Ukraine, they're not accommodating them like they're supposed to, right? On Wednesday, the pro-Russian Telegram channel published a video that appeared to show Russian soldiers standing in front of a passenger train. The clip has been geolocated to Russia's Belgrade region near the Ukraine border. We are now in the Volgograd region. There are about 500 of us. Material support, monetary allowance, absolutely nothing. So apparently they're not giving them material support or money or anything. The cameraman states this, panning the video to his fellow soldiers. The majority have their face covered with masks. So these people are supporting themselves in this war, right? The man filming the video says that the men conscripted as part of this ordeal, right? Partial mobilization degree, don't know where they are being deployed. There is absolutely zero preparation, he says, while another man in the video adds, we eat what we buy for ourselves. So here we are. This war is going really pretty crazy because it looks like they're elite people that are supposed to be, providing things for them and all of that. That's not even happening, right? But yet they can't leave the war because, as you saw the past couple of weeks, those who try to run away, they'll basically kill them. So now, even though they don't want them to run away, they don't want to provide for them. Okay, so this is really getting very, very chaotic, and it's going to continue to get chaotic because the other day they wanted to add territories that they really hadn't conquered, apparently, but they're saying that they did, and they just started, I guess, legally in their eyes, adding these territories on, which is ridiculous, right? But yet they're still sending money. Money is still being sent from us to accommodate all of this crazy stuff that's going on. And I know probably people are going to say, well, they got to stop those people because if not, it could go everywhere. But what everybody doesn't understand is eventually it's coming everywhere. It is because this nonsense is allowed to go on. It's going to trickle over to the other countries, and it's going to be a mess because their elite are against each other. A lot of them don't even agree with the war, which I can understand. But what they don't understand is there's another article I got to get where they want that territory to claim it as a second Israel. See what I was telling you about that? Because they now know that people know that they made up that these people from these areas were the original Jews, and they're not. They're converted, but they're not the bloodline Jews. And that's going to cause a very big problem very soon because you can't claim land and territory that's not yours, not by claiming that you're the blood people that were there, because you weren't. You were converted to what they call Judaism, which was the belief that brought our people down, because Judaism was mixed in with the surrounding nations of the laws and statutes and commandments that God gave us had nothing to do with Judaism. Judaism has a what you call a tainted gospel or a tainted religion that was mixed in with our people. And so they're trying to make that as if that was what was originally given to us. No, that was when our people started listening to the Romans and all these other surrounding nations of people. But that's a false doctrine. Okay. And when they even tested the people over there, they found that their DNA did not it didn't match to the original people that were there. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Like I told you, those people were Shemites. They were black people. So there's no way that these people could come from Europe and claim that they're Jews, not bloodline. They can believe in what we believed in, but for them to claim that they're somebody that they're not, that's not flying over now. So they know, just like before, one of their prime ministers that they had previously, he was trying to get them out of there in time, because these people that are there basically from Khazarian, they're Khazarian. They're from the Khazarian kingdom that once existed over in like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, that, you know, the area of Turkey and all of that. But they left that area to come to what's today's Israel, because it was unoccupied by us, because we were put out of the land. So now the lies are coming to surface. So now, to play it off, they're going to try to make that new land that they trying to capture from the Ukrainians, they're going to try to make that the new Jerusalem, the new Israel. All right. So it's getting ready to be a real mess, y'all. Look it up. What I'm telling you, look it up. They're trying to hide that stuff, but that's what that's about, is them trying to create this new land that they're going to call Jerusalem. You know, they're going to call that Israel, but you know, that's not going to work, because biblically speaking, you're going to know, the Bible even tells you in Revelation, I know them that say they are Jews that are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. So the Bible even tells us that there would be these false people claiming to be who they're not, you know, and some of them may not know fully what's going on, that there was a switching and a changing of the people. And just like now, they're changing out the people here in America. But all of that stuff is going to come to an end. So this is really crazy. But this is what's going on. So amongst the elite is going to be fighting, because a lot of their elite don't want to go along with that kind of stuff, because they know that that's a lie. And it's time, even if people have written books about it, that, you know, the 13th tribe, this 13th tribe, they were telling them that you're not the 13th tribe, y'all. Y'all are not the bloodline people. And like I said, we're not trying to exalt ourselves in any kind of way, but we are who we've always been. We've always been Jews. We've always been, they started calling us Jews, but we're called Hebrew Israelites. We're Hebrew by blood and Israelite by nation. If you notice, a lot of times those people call themselves Israelis. That's not in the Bible. Israelites, Hebrew Israelites, okay? They were always Black people, all right? And not just Black people, but we're a separate nation of people. And that's starting to come to surface, and people don't like it, but that's how it is. That's how God set it up. You can't, you know, you've hid it. They've tried to hide it for so long. That's why they made up during the Renaissance time, European Christ and the rapture and all of that, so that we wouldn't be paying attention, so that when the rapture didn't come, people would be saying, oh, maybe there is no Christ, or maybe there is no God. But nowhere in the Bible does it say rapture. There's going to be a time where the dead in Christ shall rise and all of that. But when Christ comes back to the earth, it'll be to take back that area, because in the Bible, he is going to rule and reign as priest and king. He will be the Melchizedek. He's not going to run for a governor and all of that kind of stuff. No, he's going to go in there, he clear the place out, because it's been defiled. So he has to clear that area out, and he's going to rule and reign as priest and king, as has given to him from God. So a lot of these lies and things like that are coming to full circle, where everything is about to get exposed. All right. So pay attention to what's going on around you. It's all a biblical proportion. So now what we're going to do, now we're going to go to health and wellness. And the one that we're going to do today is use liquid disinfectants in your laundry. I do, okay, all the time, because of where I work. I have to, because I'm dealing with people from all kind of walks of life, and you know what I'm saying. I don't know what different illnesses or things like that they could be carrying. All right. So as soon as I get in, I soak my clothes in liquid Lysol. All right. So my stuff gets cleaned. All right. And then the other thing that you could do as far as business tips, do in with your indoor events, have a group event where you talk about the importance and give samples of safe laundry disinfectants, because some things that have you scratching if you have the wrong type of laundry disinfectant. So talk about it and learn from each other, so that that can go over well. And that's another good topic for a business event. What's important, the importance of and samples of safe laundry disinfectants. You could probably call those companies and get free samples, so that we have to, because we're around so many different things nowadays. You don't know what's going on. So be safe with your laundry too. All right. Okay. So now we are going to do our credo, right? Which is Shama Yasharala, Ahaya Alahaya, Nawa, Ahaya Akkad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God. The Lord our God, he is one God. Deuteronomy, the 6th chapter and the 4th verse. Okay. So we're going to go into the lesson, which is based on Jasher chapter 73, the verses that I read earlier, 4 through 5, but we're going to go through the whole, we're going to go through the chapter of 73. So again, it says, in the 7th day of his reign, all the children of Cush assembled and came before Moses and bowed down to him to the ground. And all the children spoke together in the presence of the king, saying, give us counsel, that we may see what is to be done to this city. I remember their leader had died, but they decided that Moses was going to be over them. For it is now 9 years that we have been besieging round about the city, and have not seen our children and our wives. So they've been at this war for like 9 years, right? And they haven't even seen their children and their wife. Can you imagine that, for 9 years? Oh my Lord. They ain't seen their children and their wives. They don't know if they're alive or what. So the king answered them, saying, if you will hearken to my voice and all that I shall command you, then will the Lord give the city into our hands, and we shall subdue it. For if we fight with them as in the former battle which we had with them before the death of Kikianus, many of us will fall down wounded as before. So Moses is letting them know, we can't fight like we've been fighting, or we're going to lose. And therefore, behold, here is counsel for you in this matter. If you will hearken to my voice, then will the city be delivered into our hands. So all the forces answered the king, saying, all that our Lord shall command, that will we do. And Moses said unto them, pass through and proclaim a voice in the whole camp unto all the people, saying, thus says the king, go into the forest and bring with you of the young ones of the stork, each man a young one in his hand. And any person transgressing the word of the king, who shall not bring his young one, he shall die, and the king will take all belonging to him. And when you shall bring them, they shall be in your keeping. You shall rear them until they grow up, and you shall teach them to dart upon, as is the way of the young ones of the hawk. So they're dealing with storks in this thing. This is really different, right? So all the children of Cush heard the words of Moses, and they rose up and caused a proclamation to be issued throughout the camp, saying, unto you, all the children of Cush, the king's order is that you go all together to the forest and catch there the young storks, each man his young one in his hand, and you shall bring them home. And any person violating the order of the king shall die, and the king will take all that belongs to him. And all the people did so, and they went out to the wood, and they climbed the fir trees and caught each man a young one in his hand, all the young of the storks. And they brought them into the desert and reared them by order of the king. And they taught them to dart upon, similar to the young hawks. So they taught the storks how to, you know, how the hawks do. They see their prey, and they you know, they go in on them. And after the young storks were reared, the king ordered them to be hungered for 3 days. And all the people did so. And on the third day, the king said unto them, strengthen yourselves and become valiant men, and put on each man his armor, and gird on his sword upon him, and ride each man his horse, and take each his young stork in his hand. So now you're supposed to get on this horse now after this 3 days of fasting with a stork. And we will rise up and fight against the city at the place where the serpents are. And all the people did as the king had ordered. And they took each man his young one in his hand, and they went away. And when they came to the place of the serpent, the king said to them, send forth each man his young stork upon the serpents. And they sent forth each man his young stork at the king's order. And the young storks ran upon the serpents, and they devoured them all and destroyed them out of that place. Now, isn't that wisdom? They raised up the storks to get rid of the snakes in the area. That's a serpent, is a snake, right? And when the king and people had seen that all the serpents were destroyed in that place, all the people set up a great shout. Yeah, we got it, right? And they approached and fought against the city and took it and subdued it. And they entered into the city. So what was stopping them was the serpents, right? And there died on that day 1,100 men of the people of the city, and all that inhabited the city. But of the people besieging, not one died. Not one of Moses' people died. So all the children of Cush, which were under Moses' rule, went each to his home, to his wife and his children, and to all belonging to him. So after this, they were able to go back home because they hadn't seen their family in 9 years. And Balaam, the magician, this guy's crazy, right? When he saw that the city was taken, he opened the gate. He and his 2 sons and 8 brothers fled and returned to Egypt, to Pharaoh, king of Egypt. So you got Balaam that's in the midst. So now he gonna go back to Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. They are the sorcerers and magicians who are mentioned in the book of the law, standing against Moses when the Lord brought the plagues upon Egypt, right? So these people had even seen what was coming. They were around when the plagues finally fell, right? At later on in the story, when you see where Moses returns back to Egypt and brings the people out. So Moses took the city by his wisdom, and the children of Cush placed him on the throne instead of Kykianus, king of Cush. Remember, he was dead. And they placed the royal crown upon his head. And they gave him for a wife Adoniah, the Cushite queen, wife of Kykianus, right? So, and Moses feared the Lord God of his fathers, so that he came not to her, nor did he turn his eyes to her, because at that time we weren't supposed to, you know how they do now. We're not supposed to be marrying people from other nations, y'all. We're supposed to marry our own people, just like the other nations do. If you notice now, even the commercials, they trying to mix us in with everybody. Not that you hate anybody, but our nation should be, like we supposed to be. All right. So Moses knew that we weren't supposed to be doing that, because all nations are supposed to continue on, right? So Moses feared the Lord God of his fathers, so that he came not to her, nor did he turn his eyes to her. For Moses remembered how Abraham had made his servant Eliezer swear, saying unto him, thou shalt not take a woman from the daughters of Canaan for my son Isaac, right? The Lord did not want Isaac to marry those women that were in the surrounding areas, because remember, Canaan became Israel But there were women in that area that were of Nephilim seed. Okay, there were giants in that land. All right, and Abraham didn't want Isaac to hook up with none of them, right? So also what Isaac did when Jacob had fled from his brother, right? When he commanded him, saying, "Thou shalt not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan, nor make alliance with any of the children of Ham." The Hamites, remember, we're Shemites, right? For the Lord our God gave Ham, the son of Noah, and his children and all his seed as slaves to the children of Shem and to the children of Japheth, and unto their seed after them for slaves forever. Because remember, Ham was the one that looked upon his father's nakedness. Therefore Moses turned not his heart nor his eyes to the wife of Kikianus all the days that he reigned over Cush, because there was a curse upon them, right? And Moses feared the Lord his God all his life. Now, that doesn't mean that, because if you think about it, when you read through the Bible, all of the nations of people became cursed, even the ones that call themselves ruling now, because a lot of them are of the Nephilim seed, all right? But because we were chosen to be God's people above all the nations of the earth, because we were chosen as the priests and the people to bring the people back to the worship of the Lord, all right? So there are things that we're not supposed to do. Not that we ain't better than nobody, y'all know. I ain't saying that, because Lord knows we got a lot of stuff we got to get right and come back to, okay, before the return of Christ. All right, because we have to lead people back to the Lord. All right, but we got to start with us. So Moses feared the Lord God all his life, and Moses walked before the Lord in truth with all his heart and soul. He turned not from the right way all the days of his life. He declined not from the way either to the right or to the left, in which Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob had walked, the patriarchs, right? And Moses strengthened himself in the kingdom of the children of Cush, and he guided the children of Cush with his usual wisdom, and Moses prospered in his kingdom. See, sometimes God will set you amongst people, but he doesn't want you intermingling with their ways, because sometimes their ways can cloud your judgment. It can cloud your thoughts. It can cloud your relationship between you and the Most High. And at that time, Aram, the children of the east, heard that Kakianus, king of Cush, had died. So Aram and the children of the east rebelled against Cush in those days. And Moses gathered all the children of Cush, a people very mighty, about 30,000 men, and he went forth to fight with Aram and the children of the east. So now he had the children of the east are rising up, but Moses has been made king, right? So now he got some other people that want to fight, right? So they, so at that time, Aram, the children of the east, heard that Kakianus, king of Cush, had died. So Aram and the children of the east rebelled against Cush, and Moses gathered all the children of Cush, a people very mighty, about 30,000 men, and he went forth to fight Aram and the children of the east. And they went at first to the children of the east, and when the children of the east heard their report, they went to meet them and engaged in battle with them. So now Moses is fighting, with the children of the east, right? He's over the Cushites. So him and the Cushites are fighting against the children of the east. And they went at first to the children of the east, and when the children of the east heard their report, they went to meet them, engaging in battle, and the war was severe against the children of the east. So the Lord gave all the children of the east into the hand of Moses, and about 300 men fell down slain. So they got rid of 300 men, right, through the hand of Moses, because Moses was leading them. And all the children of the east turned back and retreated. They were like, man, Moses is tough. I'm out of here. So Moses and the children of Cush followed them, and subdued them and put a tax upon them, as was their custom. So if you conquer people, you put taxes on them. This is how they did it back then. And they do that now. And so Moses and all the people with him passed from there to the land of Aram for battle. And the people of Aram also went to meet them, and they fought against them. And the Lord delivered them into the hand of Moses, and many of the men of Aram fell down wounded. So many of them got killed, and many of them got wounded. And Aram also subdued by Moses and the people of Cush, and also gave their usual tax. So the people, the people of Aram, they started paying their taxes. And Moses brought Aram and the children of the east under subjection to the children of Cush. Okay, so this is a black man bringing, another group of people under Cush, right? Cush are the Hamites. They're a black group of people. And Moses and all the people who were with him turned to the land of Cush. And Moses strengthened himself in the kingdom of the children of Cush. And the Lord was with him, and the children of Cush were afraid of him. Isn't that something? Sometimes the Lord has sent us to help people, and then they get scared of us and stuff. In the end of years died Saul, king of Edom. This is Jasher, the 74th chapter that I'm in now. And Baal-Canaan, the son of Akbar, reigned in his place. All right, so this is Saul, king of Edom, not the Saul, Saul who's king of Edom. All right, in the 16th year of the reign of Moses over Cush. Baal-Canaan, the son of Akbar, reigned in the land of Edom. Now, Edomites, remember, are Esau. He left off of his Israelite heritage, and he went to rule over Edom. He became a different nation of people, which he eventually winded up being involved with the European nation. All right, nations of people. That's how Esau became European. All right, so he reigned in the land of Edom over all the children of Edom for 38 years, right? This is Baal-Canaan. In his days, Moab rebelled against the power of Edom, having been under Edom since the days of Hadad, the son of Bedad, who smote them in Midian and brought Moab under subjection to Edom. These are the Edomites. Esau became Edom. All right. So, and when Baal-Canaan, the son of Akbar, reigned over Edom, all the children of Moab withdrew their alliance from Edom. And Angeas, king of Africa, died in those days. And Asdrubal, his son, reigned in his stead. And in those days died Janius, king of the children of Kittim. And they buried him in his temple, which he had built for himself in the plain of Canopia for a residence. And Latinus reigned in his stead. In the 22nd year of the reign of Moses over the children of Cush, Latinus reigned over the children of Kittim 45 years. And also built for himself a great and mighty tower. And he built therein an elegant temple for his residence to conduct his government, and was the custom, and as was the custom. In the 3rd year of his reign, he caused a proclamation to be made to all his skillful men, who made many ships for him. And Latinus assembled all his forces, and they came in ships and went therein to fight with Asdrubal, son of Angeas, king of Africa. And they came to Africa, engaged in battle with Asdrubal and his army. And Latinus prevailed over Asdrubal, and Latinus took from Asdrubal the aqueduct which his father had brought from the children of Kittim. Excuse me. When he took Jania, the daughter of Uzziah, for a wife. So Latinus overthrew the bridge of the aqueduct and smote the whole army of Asdrubal a severe blow. And the remaining strong men of Asdrubal strengthened themselves, and their hearts were filled with envy, and they courted death, and again engaged in battle with Latinus, king of Kittim. And the battle was severe upon all the men of Africa, and they all fell wounded before Latinus and his people. And Asdrubal the king also fell in the battle. And the king Asdrubal had a very beautiful daughter whose name was Ushpezma. Ushpezina. Ushpezina was her name. And all the men of Africa embroidered her likenesses on their garments on account of her great beauty and comely appearance. That's kind of weird though, but this is what they did, right? So, all right. So, they, put her comely appearance on their apparel. And the men of Latinus saw Ushpezma, the daughter of Asdrubal, and praised her unto Latinus their king. And Latinus ordered her to be brought to him, and Latinus took Ushpezna for a wife, and he turned back on his way to Kittim. And it was after the death of Asdrubal, son of Angeas, when Latinus had turned back to his land from the battle, that all the inhabitants of Africa rose up and took Anibal, the son of Angeas, the younger brother of Asdrubal, and made him king instead of his brother over the whole land of Africa. And when he reigned, he resolved to go to Kittim to fight with the children of Kittim to avenge the cause of Asdrubal, his brother. So these are brothers fighting. And the cause of the inhabitants of Africa. And he did so. And he made many ships, and he came therein with his whole army and went to Kittim. All right. So we're reading about here, two brothers that are fighting against one another, right? So let's go back in here so we could go. All right. So let's go to Jasher, the 75th chapter. At that time, in the 118th year of the Israelites going down into Egypt, there went forth from Egypt valiant men, 30,000 on foot, from the children of Israel, who were all of the tribe of Joseph, of the children of Ephraim, son of Joseph. All right. So now you got this group of Israelites that are going forth from Egypt, valiant men, 30,000 of us, right? For they said the period was completed, which the Lord had appointed to the children of Israel in the times of old, which he had spoken to Abraham. And these men girded themselves, and they put each man his sword at his side, and every man his armor upon him. And they trusted to their strength, and they went out together from Egypt with a mighty hand. But they brought no provision for the road, only silver and gold, not even bread for that day did they bring in their hands, for they thought of getting their provision for pay from the Philistines. Now remember, the Philistines are a knockoff of the fallen angels cohabitating with men. They're knockoff, they're Nephilim, right, of the Nephilim seed. And if not, they would take it by force. So the Israelites are going now, our people, without any knowledge of, fighting against these people, right? And these men were very mighty and valiant men. One man could pursue 1,000, and two could rout 10,000. So they trusted to their strength and went together as they were, because our people were strong. So we felt like, listen, we be taking people out. Hey. And they directed their courses toward the land of Gath, and they went down and found the shepherds of Gath feeding the cattle of the children of Gath. And they said to the shepherds, give us some of the sheep for pay, that we may eat, for we are hungry, for we have eaten no bread this day. And the shepherds said, are they our sheep or cattle that we should give them to you, even for pay? So the children of Ephraim approached to take them by force. So here we go. And the shepherds of Gath shouted over them that their cry was heard at a distance. So all the children of Gath went out to them. And when the children of Gath saw the evil doings of the children of Ephraim, they returned and assembled the men of Gath, and they put on each man his armor and came forth to the children of Ephraim for battle. And they engaged with them in the valley of Gath, and the battle was severe. And they smote from each other a great many on that day. And on the second day, the children of Gath sent to all the cities of the Philistines that they should come to their help, saying, "Come help us, that we may smite the children of Ephraim," which are Israelites, "who have come forth from Egypt to take our cattle and to fight against us without cause." Now the souls of the children of Ephraim were exhausted with hunger and thirst, for they had eaten no bread for 3 days. And 40,000 men went forth from the cities of the Philistines to the assistance of the men of Gath. And these men were engaged in battle with the children of Ephraim, and the Lord delivered the children of Ephraim into the hands of the Philistines. So every time we did dumb stuff, the Lord said, "No, I didn't send you to do that. Okay, you're going to get delivered into these people's hands because you're really losing it." Okay. So the children of Ephraim, which is one of our 12 tribes, they got beat. All right. And they smote the children of Ephraim, all who had gone forth from Egypt. None were remaining but 10 men who had run away from the engagement. So 10 of our people from the tribe of Ephraim were, come on now. For this evil was from the Lord against the children of Ephraim, for they transgressed the word of the Lord in going forth from Egypt before the period had arrived, which the Lord in the days of old had appointed to Israel. The Lord had appointed a time where we were supposed to go forth. If he say a certain amount of time, you don't take it upon yourself, say, "This has been long enough, let's take these people out." And the slain of the children of Ephraim remained forsaken in the valley of Gath for many days and years, and were not brought to burial, and the valley was filled with men's bones. And the men who had escaped from the battle came to Egypt and told all the children of Israel all that had befallen them. And their father Ephraim mourned over them for many days, and his brethren came to console him. For he came to his wife, and she bare a son, and he called his name Berea, for she was unfortunate in his house. Right? And Moses, the son of Amram, I'm in Joshua 76 now, was still king in the land of Cush in those days. And he proposed in his kingdom, and he prospered, in his kingdom. And he conducted the government of the children of Cush in justice and righteousness and integrity. See, Moses wasn't getting taken out because he was consulting with the Lord. Now, the tribe of Ephraim, I don't know what kind of foolishness they was doing. Nobody told them to rise up and do that mess. And all the children of Cush loved Moses all the days that he reigned over them, and all the inhabitants of the land of Cush were greatly afraid of him. Right? And in the 40th year of the reign of Moses over Cush, Moses was sitting on the royal throne, while Adoniah, the queen, was before him, and all the nobles were sitting around him. And Adoniah, the queen, said before the king and the princes, "What is this thing which you, the children of Cush, have done for this long time? Surely you know that for 40 years that this man has reigned over Cush, he has not approached me, nor has he served the gods of the children of Cush." Now remember, this woman was given to Moses as his wife, but he never looked at her because he knew he wasn't supposed to engage with Hamites. Not sexually, she wasn't supposed to be his wife. Right? So now she's telling on him that he's been king over us for 40 years. All right. And he hasn't approached me. He's never come and consummated the marriage. We've never had sex. Right. Nor has he served the gods. They served the idol gods. All right. These people, all right, served idols. The Cushites, they served idols. So she's now telling on Moses, saying, he hasn't touched me in 40 years, and he doesn't even serve our gods. Now therefore hear, O ye children of Cush, and let this man no more reign over you, as he is not of our flesh. See how that works? Behold, it would seem like she would know if he was Hebrew, he was taught that he was a Hebrew. He was supposed to be with a Hebrew woman, right? Not people of another culture, right? So behold, Manacrus, my son, is grown up. Let him reign over you. For it is better for you to serve the son of your Lord than to serve a stranger slave of the king of Egypt. Wow, she even called him a slave of the king of Egypt. And all the people and nobles of the children of Cush heard the words which Adoniah the queen had spoken in their ears. And all the people were preparing until the evening. And in the morning they rose up early and made Menacrus, son of Cacanias, king over them. And all the children of Cush were afraid to stretch forth their hand against Moses. So this woman started this trouble, but these men were afraid to go against Moses because they saw what Moses could do. Moses kept them alive. When they went to war, they won. The Lord showed Moses to get, that bird to eat up all the snakes, and they won the battle. So they were scared to go against Moses, right? For the Lord was with Moses. People know when the Lord is with you, and they may go against you because their people are wicked. They don't want any good for you. So they may go against you for some person that just doesn't like you. And the children of Cush remember the oath which they swore to Moses. Therefore, they did no harm to him. So they heard what that queen said, but they was like, listen, I'm like the car. I'm outie. I'm not doing that. But the children of Cush gave many presents to Moses and sent him from them with great honor. So Moses went forth from the land of Cush. So they told him, listen, bro, you got to go, but we ain't got nothing against you. Here, we got some gifts for you. You did us right. Okay, but this queen here, she is really tripping. So maybe you got to get out of here. So Moses went forth from the land of Cush and went home and ceased to reign over Cush. And Moses was 66 years old when he went out of the land of Cush, for the thing was from the Lord, for the period had arrived which he had appointed in the days of old to bring forth Israel from the affliction of the children of Ham. See, the Ephraimites were trying to do it themselves, but the Lord hadn't forgotten them. He knew that they were going to come out of this Egyptian bondage, but he was going to do it through Moses. So he's teaching Moses all this time to be a leader. All right. So now Moses is 66 at this time. So now Moses went to Midian, for he was afraid to return to Egypt on account of Pharaoh. And he went and sat at a well water in Midian. Remember, Pharaoh, if he went back to Egypt, Pharaoh was going to have him killed because he had killed one of Pharaoh's people that were beating up his, one of the Israelites, right? So Moses went to Midian, for he was afraid to return to Egypt on account of Pharaoh. And he went and sat at a well of water in Midian. And the 7 daughters of Reuel, the Midianite, went out to feed their father's flock. So while he's at this water fountain, here comes 7 women from Reuel, who's a Midianite. And they came to the well and drew water to water their father's flock. So the shepherds of Midian came and drove them away. So now there's some wicked shepherds that are trying to run these women away. And Moses rose up and helped them and watered the flock. He was like, get away from those women. Get away. Leave them alone. So he helped them. He's a gentleman. You know how sometimes people see a woman getting beat up, grown men, right? And they're not going to do anything. They want to say, hey, stop. Nothing like that. They just sit there and watch her get a beat down, right? So Moses rose up and helped them and watered the flock. And they came home to their father Reuel and told him what Moses did for them. So they were like, Dad, these guys, they was trying to, like overtake us at the well when we was trying to feed the flock. But this guy Moses, he took up for us. So they said, an Egyptian man has delivered us from the hands of the shepherds. He drew up water for us and watered the flock. Now they thought Moses was Egyptian because he dressed like an Egyptian, right? And at that time, like I said, you had, those people of dark complexion, so they figured we all kind of mixed in. And Ruel said to his daughters, and where is he? Wherefore have you left the man? Why didn't you bring the man to meet me? Why didn't you, I want to appreciate him. And Ruel sent for him and fetched him and brought him home, and he ate bread with him. So Ruel sent somebody to go get the man to help my daughters. And Moses related to Ruel that he had fled from Egypt and that he reigned 40 years over Cush. So Moses felt comfortable talking to Ruel, and he said, listen, I fled from Egypt, and after I fled from Egypt, the Lord had me to reign 40 years over the Cushites, and they afterward had taken the government from me, and they had sent him away in peace, with honor, and with presents, right? And when Ruel had heard the words of Moses, Ruel said within himself, I will put this man into the prison house, whereby I shall conciliate the children of Cush, for he has fled from them. So Ruel is like thinking a whole different way. And they took him and put him into the prison house. And Moses was in prison 10 years. So this is what he did for this man having saved his daughters. He's wicked, right? He put Moses in the prison for 10 years. While Moses was in the prison house, Joseph was in prison too, right? Zipporah, the daughter of Ruel, took pity over him and supported him with bread and water all the time. So Zipporah supported him. And all the children of Israel were yet in the land of Egypt, serving the Egyptians in all manner of hard work. And the hand of Egypt continued in severity over the children of Israel in those days. Sounds like a lot of our people when we came here, we were enslaved. And even when we were so-called out of slavery, they just kept moving us to different plantations. And we know what the plantation today is, right? Behind bars. At that time, the Lord smote Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he afflicted him with the plague of leprosy. That's another thing that causes the lightening of our skin. That's why another reason why we come in different color, different shades. All right. So he afflicted with the plague of leprosy from the sole of his foot to the crown of his head, owing to the cruel treatment of the children of Israel was this plague at the time from the Lord upon Pharaoh, king of Egypt. You wonder why sometimes some of those things happen. The things that they have done to us, believe me, they're going to pay for it through so many different ways. A lot of nations are suffering because of what they did to us. Because even though they brought us here as slaves and whatnot, remember, they allowed different nations to do evil to us. So those nations are now suffering and are going to continue to suffer, okay, for what was done to us. You reap what you sow. God sends it, okay? He don't even spare us, even our people. Different things that we have done, brought upon ourselves, we've suffered for. Okay, so for the Lord had hearkened to the prayer of his people, the children of Israel, and their cry reached him on account of their hard work. Still his anger did not turn from them, and the hand of Pharaoh was still stretched out against the children of Israel. See, sometimes God will hear our prayer, but he wants us to learn the lesson. So he's like, I'm not going to redeem them yet. Nah, I'm going to let them suffer. And Pharaoh hardened his neck before the Lord, and he increased his yoke over the children of Israel and embittered their lives with all manner of hard work. And when the Lord had inflicted the plague upon Pharaoh, king of Egypt, right, He asked his wise men and sorcerers to cure him. He didn't ask the Lord God of heaven to cure him. He asked his fake wise men and sorcerers to cure him. And his wise men and sorcerers said unto him that if the blood of little children were put in the wounds, he would be healed. Do you see where this stuff comes up, where they do these things to these kids? Why do you think they kidnap these children and do stuff like that? That's the same mess that they do today. All right. The blood of little children. And Pharaoh hearkened to them and sent his ministers to Goshen to the children of Israel to take their little children. And Pharaoh's ministers went and took the infants of the children of Israel from the bosom of their mothers by force. And they brought them to Pharaoh daily, a child each day. And the physicians killed them and applied them to the plague. Thus did they all the days. So they took our children and killed them and took their blood and put it on the wounds of their Pharaoh. And the number of the children which Pharaoh slew was 375. So 375 of our children, all right, were killed for this person. All right. Okay. But the Lord hearkened not to the physicians of the king of Egypt, and the plague went on increasing mightily. So the Lord didn't allow him to be healed. And Pharaoh was 10 years afflicted with that plague. Still, the heart of Pharaoh was more hardened against the children of Israel. And at the end of 10 years, the Lord continued to afflict Pharaoh with destructive plagues. And the Lord smote him with a bad tumor and sickness at the stomach. And that plague turned to a severe boil. All right. So, this is what was going on. And this is why you see the different things is going on today, the kidnapping of children and all of that kind of stuff. They do all kind of things with these kids. Child sacrifice. They use their body. These people are wicked. And it's the same thing that went on back then. Don't let nobody fool you. It's the same thing. The same devil doing the same stuff. Just a different way sometime. But they still do that. All right. So thank you for tuning in to the Crystal Jones Show. You can watch me every Saturday from 7 to 8 p.m. On the channels 951, 2137, the Inspired channel. Also check me out on YouTube, the Crystal Jones TV show. Subscribe, like, and share my videos. Check me out on Instagram and on HebrewConnect.tv. But thank you for tuning in. God bless you. God keep you is my prayer. Stay balanced. Stay in the Lord. Know the Lord. Read your scriptures. Read those apocryphal books, y'all. It tells you everything that's going on today is the same mess. There's nothing new under the sun. They just doing it a different way. But it's the same devil working through these people, okay? God bless you. God keep you is my prayer. Continue to tune into the show and share and like all the videos, all right? Kwam Yasharala Kwam, rise up, tell the story, all right? Let people know who we are. We know who we are now. We are the Israelites, all right? God bless you. God keep you is my prayer. We love everybody, but we got to tell the truth. Thank you for tuning in. You and you always stay balanced.
Stop using church intimidation, control and manipulation. Jezebel and all them spirits fall back, not trying to hear it. Go with Jesus, walk in peace. On your pew can sit that beast that we're fighting in the world. I'm that JC Supergirl, Jesus Christ, belt of truth, arm of God, I'm slaying you. Power of the word, two-edged sword. MC Heaven rocks for her Lord. Thought they crept in unaware, didn't see the gate.